The first time I watched someone die, my skill copied it and made me immune. I've watched 10,000 deaths since. There's no way left to kill me. It started with the one person he'd have given his own life to save.
Kazuki, don't forget what it means to be human.
His skill activated, swallowing that death into his soul, her final memory seared into his mind forever. Now he stands untouched in a firestorm, but inside, a scrapbook of the dead. Each immunity came with a price. The last moments of a life. 10,000 voices, 10,000 ends, all living inside him. He walks away from the flames, heavier than any shield could make him. Who can live like this and still call it living? The Hunter Association didn't ask for volunteers. For Kazuki, it was duty or worse.
Your role is to observe the kill. Don't engage. This immunity is critical.
Kazuki stood in the open as spells and shrapnel passed through him like mist. A fellow hunter staggered, then collapsed. Kazuki's eyes locked on, and the skill fed. A flash of the man's last thought, a daughter's name, seared into Kazuki's mind.
Excellent. Return. We'll catalog the new immunity. You're more valuable than ever.
I'm just a vault for death. A walking collection of last breaths. The retrieval team took the body. Kazuki remained in the crater, forgotten. He dragged himself to his quarters, the walls closing in with every step. If there's anything left of me, Yuki, hold on to it. I can't feel it anymore. The next mission sent him to a collapsed district, where civilians still screamed under the rubble. A woman pinned beneath a beam begged for help, her hand reaching for his.
Do not intervene. Observe her final moment. That's an order.
If I move, I save her, but they'll lock me away. He stood frozen as her eyes dimmed. The skill fed on her passing, a child's cry, then silence, her final gift to his collection. Another echo I can't silence, another weight in the grave inside me. Back at the barracks, a passing hunter muttered under his breath. He's not a soldier, just a tool. In his room, he pressed his palms against his eyes, but the images wouldn't fade. How many more faces until I can't remember my own? In the silence of his room, he reached for the only anchor that remained, a worn photograph of Yuki. Her voice haunted him. Don't forget what it means to be human. But staring at his reflection, he saw a stranger. A fellow hunter found him on the roof, staring at the burning skyline. The man whispered, "If you try to leave, they'll bury you. You are too valuable to the project." Then they'll have to bury an immortal. I won't be their weapon anymore. I won't let them bury me. I am not just a weapon. The hunters in the corridor watched him pass with cold eyes. No one greeted him. This ends now. No more watching. No more obeying.
Enter.
I need to know why I am really here. What am I to you?
You're the most valuable asset we have. Do you know how many lives your immunity has saved?
Saito pulled up holograms of disaster zones, lists of casualties averted.
Your burden is unimaginable, but it's necessary, and we can help you bear it.
A medical device was presented, a neural regulator that could suppress traumatic memories.
This will let you forget the worst of it. Focus only on the mission.
Forget or bury it deeper? I can't even feel my own grief anymore. Will it stop the new ones? Every time I witness a death, another memory tears through me.
It will. Soften the impact. Over time, you'll be stronger. Trust the process.
Kazuki left the office with a scheduled appointment, but something curdled in his stomach. If this doesn't work, I'll be nothing but a shell. But maybe it's better than this. The neural regulator pressed against his temples, cold electrodes sending a numbing pulse through his skull. A resonant hum filled the room, and his consciousness dissolved into static. Behind a dark wall, the memories receded. For one fragile breath, his mind was his own. Then the wall shattered without warning, cracks, bleeding ghostly light across the void. Yuki's face surged forward, and a cascade of dying moments crashed behind her. He ripped the electrodes free, a scream tearing from his throat as the memories flooded back tenfold.
What did you do? They're worse than before, like they're eating my mind alive.
The technician admitted the suppression was temporary. It numbed his own emotions, not the memories.
You are not suppressing memories. You are erasing who I am as a person.
He stormed out, his mind a battlefield. The association never meant to help. He'd find the truth himself. That night, he slipped past the guards into the restricted archives. The air tasted of dust and secrets. His immunity to energy barriers let him walk through detection fields without a whisper of alarm. On a dusty terminal, he found a classified folder, Death Mimicry Maximization Project. He opened it. Lists of deaths, names, locations, dates, mapped with clinical precision. And there, coded as Incident 312, was the woman he'd watched die in the rubble. Subject must witness variant deaths for full coverage. Immunity catalog not yet complete.
They killed them to make me unkillable. Every death, a brick in my prison.
He copied the files onto a drive, his movements cold and mechanical. In a dark room, he spread the printed lists across the floor. The paper accused him.
I am not a weapon. I am the crime scene.
In a dim laboratory, Kazuki found one of the project scientists and slammed him against the wall. The scientist sputtered. You can't stop it. We've already grown a copy of you.
A copy of what? What have you done?
The copy is you. When it dies, you'll witness your own death, the only immunity you lack.
But that would, if I witness my own death, my soul.
Exactly. You'd become truly immortal. But the person you are would be erased. Kazuki saw it. An empty shell with his face, walking forever, carrying nothing but silence. The scientist whispered, "It's for humanity's future, a necessary sacrifice." Kazuki released him and staggered back, the weight of the revelation crushing his chest.
I won't let them erase me. I'll burn this project to the ground first.
He stumbled into a rain-soaked alley, the walls pressing in with whispers of the dead.
Kazuki, don't forget what it means to be human.
On the rooftop, a hollow warning had been burned into him. If you try to leave, they'll bury you. They'll bury you.
Then they'll have to bury an immortal. I won't let them turn me into a monster. I can't let them turn me into a monster.
In his barren room, he packed no photos, no keepsakes, only a drive of evidence and a blade. At the perimeter fence, his first step beyond triggered the sirens. Red lights bled across the courtyard. Soldiers in tactical gear closed in, energy rifles humming. Don't move.
Did you really think we'd let our greatest asset just walk away?
Restraints locked around his wrists. The immortal had become a prisoner of his own power. They dragged him into a cavernous chamber where a colossal glass tank dominated the center. Inside, suspended in pale liquid, floated an exact copy of himself, a sleeping clone.
We call it Project Eternity. When this copy dies, you finally gain immunity to your own death. You become a god.
I become a shell, soulless and empty, carrying nothing but silence.
A necessary sacrifice. With true immortality, you'll save millions. This is the purpose of your power.
Number. I'd rather die human than become your perfect weapon.
Saito's expression hardened. He signaled the guards to take Kazuki away to a cell. They threw him into a concrete box, the door slamming shut on the last sliver of light. Alone in the dark, the clone's image refused to leave his mind, a ghost of what he would become.
I'll find a way to stop this. I won't lose myself.
In the black silence, Kazuki sat motionless, his head bowed to the cold floor. Then, without warning, the memories surged. A floodgate breaking inside his skull, faces, screams, last breaths. Every death he had ever witnessed crashed through him at once. 10,000 voices wailed in chorus, each carving a fresh wound behind his eyes. He clawed at his head and screamed until his throat tore, but the tide would not stop. Then, through the chaos, a single face crystallized, Yuki, her expression gentle even in death.
Kazuki, don't forget who you are. Live for both of us.
His eyes snapped open. Tears cut tracks through the grime, but his jaw set with fierce resolve.
I am not a weapon. I am still human, and I will prove it.
He fixed his gaze on the cell door, seeing not an obstacle, but a path to the clone chamber. The cell bars crackled with lethal voltage, a death he had witnessed 100 times before. He pressed his palm to the energy field and walked through as if stepping through smoke. Guards burst in, rifles blazing, but every round passed harmlessly through his body. A fallen soldier's muscle memory guided his hands. He dropped them with 3 clean strikes.
That guard's stance. I remember. A memory from the front lines. I know every weakness.
He slipped into the ventilation shaft, the cramped darkness his only ally. Voices drifted up from a grate below. The clone purification begins in 20 minutes. Subject 0 must witness. 20 minutes. Less than a lifetime. He had to move now. At a junction, a wall terminal showed the route. Clone chamber 3 levels down, past sealed bulkheads. He became a ghost weaving through patrols, each step closing the distance to his own grave. In a forgotten maintenance closet, an old ally waited with the only answer that could save him. The old man whispered, "The soul erasure triggers because the death is recognized as your own. But if you transfer your memories to the clone, the death becomes shared, not purely witnessed."
I can do that. I understand the memory link now.
The contact warned. It could still kill you, or leave you a hollow shell.
I have to try. If I don't, there's no me left anyway.
Before he could respond, sirens ripped through the facility. The ritual had begun. Kazuki thanked him and launched himself toward the sound of his own funeral. He skidded to a halt at the blast doors of the clone chamber. 6 elite guards turned to face him. A memory of a martial arts master flowed into his limbs. He moved like water through their ranks, non-lethal, but final. He burst into the clone chamber, where the tank now bled an angry red.
Stop. You don't understand. Humanity needs an immortal guardian.
Not like this. I won't let you erase my soul.
Millions will die without you. This is the only way.
An empty shell can't protect anyone. You are building a monster, not a savior.
The clone's vitals spiked and crashed. A digitized voice announced, T-minus 60 seconds to purification. Kazuki slammed his palms against the tank, feeling the clone's faltering heartbeat through the glass.
I have to transfer the memories now. Share the burden, or it's over.
Saito lunged with a shock baton, but a telekinetic wave, borrowed from a fallen Esper, hurled him against the wall. Kazuki closed his eyes and called forth every death he had ever witnessed, ready to pour them into the other self. From his chest, a river of ghostly light streamed into the clone, carrying 10,000 final moments. Yuki's gentle smile surfaced first, then a soldier's tears, a child's last cry, each memory a shard of glass. The clone's eyes flickered open, no longer empty, but filled with borrowed sorrow. For one heartbeat, Kazuki and his other self shared the same burden. The death was no longer his alone. Then the clone's body ignited from within, cracking into blazing fragments. Kazuki felt the death as if it were his own, an agony that did not witness, but immersed. He screamed until the chamber shook, but his flesh held firm. The soul remained. The tank detonated. Liquid and light consumed everything, then faded to a stark white silence. Kazuki collapsed to his knees amid the wreckage, dragging breath into lungs that remembered pain.
I am still me.
You ruined everything. Decades of work, gone because of your selfishness.
He drew a black energy blade, a weapon designed to kill even the immortal. He lunged, the blade whistling toward Kazuki's throat. Kazuki twisted aside by a hair. The tip grazed his cheek, a death type he had never witnessed. Cold seared through his veins.
Yuki, help me hold on.
A memory of a disarming strike, pulled from a fallen warrior, shot through his arm. He caught Saito's wrist and twisted.
I've survived what you can't imagine, and I did it by staying human.
The dark blade clattered against the floor. Saito stumbled back, weaponless and gasping.
Your plan failed. I'm still me, and I'm walking away.
Saito could only glare, his dream shattered, his puppet cutting the strings.
My daughter, she was only 8. If I'd had someone immune, she'd still be alive.
He saw a sterile room, a tiny hand going still, and a father who couldn't save his child.
That's why I made you, to ensure no one else suffers that loss.
I understand your pain, but I am not your answer. The dead deserve to be mourned, not turned into a weapon. I carry their memories. Everyone, that's my burden, not your ammunition.
For the first time, Saito saw a person looking back at him, not a tool.
This project ends now. I am destroying everything you built.
He walked toward the facility's core, where the research waited to be erased. Saito called after him, but Kazuki didn't slow. The strings were cut. He reached the core mainframe and began deleting every file. Decades of research evaporated in keystrokes. He triggered a cascade overload. The terminals ignited one after another behind a sealed door. He found the holding cells, other subjects, hollow-eyed and broken.
You are free now. Follow me.
They staggered into the corridor, blinking in the flickering light. The alarms were deafening. One of them collapsed, too weak to run. Kazuki lifted him over his shoulder without slowing. Behind them, the clone chamber finally collapsed, taking decades of sin with it. He burst through an emergency exit, dawn light flooding over them like forgiveness. He laid the man on the grass and turned back. The facility groaned, then folded inward. Fire and smoke consumed the last trace of Project Eternity. He stood alone, but not a weapon, just a man in a crowded shelter. The survivors he had freed gathered around him, their eyes finally holding light.
You are free now. No more experiments, no more cages.
Later, he walked through the city. Hood drawn, just another face in the crowd. He stopped at a temporary holding cell. Inside, Saito sat in the corner, stripped of authority.
You could have been a god. Why throw it away?
I prefer to be human. I will honor the dead by living. No more death for immortality.
He turned and walked away, carrying no hatred, only the burden he chose to keep. Outside, he breathed in the cold morning air. The sky was a pale wash of gold, and for the first time in years, he looked forward to the sunrise. In a quiet cemetery, cherry blossoms floated down like soft snow upon a weathered stone. He knelt and pressed his palm against the cold, familiar granite.
I didn't forget, Yuki. Not for a single day. I never will.
He pressed a small charm into the earth, a memento from their first mission, worn smooth by years. He rose to his feet, tears blurring his vision. Yet a small smile broke through. He looked up at the vast sky, and for a moment, the weight of 10,000 souls felt bearable.
Thank you for keeping me human, Yuki.
He turned and started down the path, His shoulders no longer stooped. White petals swirled around him as he walked away from the grave into the future. His expression was peaceful, the face of a man who had chosen to live on a warm afternoon in a park dappled with light. Kazuki walked without the weight of hood or coat. A child stumbled on the path and fell, tears welling. Kazuki crouched and offered his hand. The child took it and smiled, and something in Kazuki's chest eased. The child ran back to their waiting parent, and Kazuki watched them go with a quiet gaze. He found a bench beneath a tree and sat, tilting his head back to watch the clouds drift.
I am not immune to everything. I am immune to everything but my own humanity.
He closed his eyes, letting the sun warm his face. There was no rush, no battle. Later, he climbed a grassy hill and sat overlooking the city as the sun dipped toward the horizon. His eyes opened, clear and alive. No longer haunted by the past, but accompanied by it, the sun fell below the skyline. And in the twilight, he was simply a man who had chosen to live. In a lightless room, a monitor hummed to life, its glow the only pulse against the dark. A gloved hand traced across the keyboard, pulling up a file buried under layers of encryption. The voice that followed was smooth and cold. The death mimicry subject, still functional. The screen cascaded new data. Soul integrity holding at 99.7%. Not a single percent lost. Fascinating. He resisted the erasure entirely. Perhaps we can replicate this. The image flickered to a satellite map, a single blinking dot marking a hilltop outside the city. The screen went black. On that distant hill, Kazuki still sat, unaware of the distant gaze that had already marked him. The world still wanted its immortal, but for this moment, he was free.